But first, here in Australia, as we're living our latest lockdown hell and elsewhere around the world as the Delta variant starts to take hold, one fact can't be disputed. Vaccinations are saving the lives of the most vulnerable. Now, you know my view. I've had my jabs, I'm fully vaccinated, and I did it because I've got older people in my life. And I couldn't live with the risk that I could make any of them unnecessarily sick. But for me, the decision wasn't hard. I've had almost every vaccination known to man, all the childhood ones and dozens of others over the years as I've travelled the world. But for me, then and now, I've also had choice to get vaccinated, to travel, and this time, given my age, choice to have AstraZeneca or Pfizer. Now, right now, tonight, a lot of Australians don't have that choice. A lot of younger people still waiting for their time in the queue, and many older Australians, they're told it's AstraZeneca or nothing. So it's nothing. Last week, I reported there are currently around 3 million doses of AstraZeneca left unused. Now, I suspect that surplus has only grown because I'm contacted constantly by older Australians, predominantly women, who want to be vaccinated. One of a bar of AZ. They say there's no trust in the product. Rightly or wrongly, government, the AstraZeneca horse has bolted. And it came up again today in the Prime Minister's press conference out the front of the Lodge in Canberra, where he is self-isolating in order to be able to front Parliament in about 10 days' time.
The number of women over the age of 60 saying, I don't want AstraZeneca, I want Pfizer, when can I get Pfizer? What is your message to those women, to the people who are hesitant about AstraZeneca?
Well, we have 2 vaccines and we'll soon have a third with Moderna. My message is that people should be getting vaccinated as soon as possible with the vaccines that are available for them to get vaccinated.
I think a lot of Australians are sick of the arrogance of these messages. They are voting with their feet. That's in part why the vaccine numbers are like they are. Now, if, as we're told, the most vulnerable in the country are old Australians, why isn't the government allowing these people to have choice? They're the ones at risk losing their lives to COVID, not the young people. They're the ones that will cost the health system millions for any time spent in ICU. I know there's a shortage of Pfizer and that the suppliers are only now starting to lift. That still doesn't explain to me why a 40-year-old gets protected with a vaccine of their choice, minimal risks, and a 70-year-old gets a take it or leave it option with a vaccine that has a known, albeit rare, issue with clots. Allowing vaccine choice for all Australians and prioritising older Australians first, I've got no doubt that it'd really lift numbers and particularly lift them amongst women. It's also a no-brainer that the government announced that, let's say, a date. If you are vaccinated, if you get out there and get a jab, we will open the country on a particular date, whether you're jabbed or unjabbed. It's a motivation. It gets you out of your home. What if the Prime Minister was to say, 1st of November, all vaccinated Australians would not be subject to lockdowns? Do you think that might move numbers? I think it would. Would it be a mess to administer? I suspect it might be, but no messier than lockdowns. With over 13 million people locked up in their homes tonight, we just can't go on indefinitely surviving, not living, subject to these periodic lockdowns. Every time there's an escape of the virus from hotel quarantine. Yet until there's a much higher level of vaccinations, that's what we're doomed to do. That's why this is such a dangerous time for the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, and his government on the cusp of an election. By and large, the premiers are getting a leave pass from public frustration because in their own way, they're all seen as trying to keep us safe. Gladys Berejiklian, because she's trying to keep us safe, locking us up as a last resort. Paradoxically, Daniel Andrews too, because he's been trying to keep us safe by locking us up as a first resort, because that limits the lockdown's length, or so he says. It's the PM who's copping it, because all the premiers say that they wouldn't have to lock us up if more people were vaccinated, and that's why everyone's looking then to Scott Morrison, whose explanations seem lame, as long as they're about what can't be done rather than what can. And I wish the PM wouldn't keep referring to the number of COVID deaths in Britain, a country with almost 3 times our population that has achieved almost a full adult vaccination, because they're now experiencing no more deaths than from a heavy flu season. If zero COVID deaths is the criteria for ending lockdowns, we're stuck in this hell forever because we can't abolish death and we won't eliminate this virus. It's to the PM's credit, he's facing the media regularly enough, even when he's on a hiding to nothing. But there's no substitute for a clear, elaborated, published statement about Australia's long-term plan for getting out of this. Because then the plan's the story, PM, not the questions that you can't, for whatever reason, satisfactorily answer. Right now, people have got to have some light at the end of this tunnel. That's what the PM needs to give us, instead of leaving us at the mercy of panicking premiers and their health advice that is never, ever published.